Manx Labour Party is going to be touring the island to get the views of the community. How is that going to work?
Well, can I say first of all that without kind of blowing our own trumpet, it's really good that there's been more people joining the Manx Labour Party, and I've been in it for 30 odd years, than I can remember of late. So it's really good that there's young people joining us who are interested in what we're trying to do, and what we're doing here is prior to the last election, members of the Labour Party got together and in terms of the manifesto arrangement, we had a number of Saturday mornings which we set aside. We would go in a room, all of us, we would all have equal input, and we would talk about the various issues which made up the manifesto. What we're doing now is an extension of that, and what it is, we're going to Peel's the first one on the 22nd of February, so everybody's welcome to join us. It's at the St Hilary Centre, and what we'll be doing is talking about the policies which are important to the Manx Labour Party and inviting input from those who are going to join us there. Any ideas that people have, we don't profess to have all the best ideas. It's great to listen. I've often said that politicians can sometimes talk till the cows come home, but it's also important, very important, to listen. And so we'll be doing some talking and some listening to those people who hopefully will be joining us on that night. Then we're going on to Ramsey, then we're going south.
They say you're creating a new policy for the Labour Party. What are the core policies as it stands at the moment?
Well, equality, diversity, inclusivity, justice, social justice. And maybe one of the reasons more people are interested in joining us is that some of the areas you spoke before to me about the squeezed middle. Some people in the squeezed middle are having a more difficult time, and they want to see fairness. They want to see a fair society. They don't always see that on the Isle of Man. If you were to look at the tax system, for example, that's something that could be argued isn't always as fair to everybody as it could be. It's always been a bit of a subject that politicians are afraid to even consider. But I think by discussing these issues, you can try and look and try and find the best way forward. So, but obviously, the things that are important to the Labour Party, and I guess to everybody else who stands for election, the economy, the health service, education, all those kind of normal things that matter to everybody, really. But we have an emphasis in a certain direction, obviously.
Now, you say you want to hear from anybody who supports the move to a more inclusive and progressive government. What, in your eyes, is progressive?
Well, progressive is being prepared to change, being prepared to look at alternative ways of doing things, but cherishing those things which are important to the public. And we would say that the National Health Service, for example, is not something that's up for sale. It's not something that should be privatised. Now, we see moves going on elsewhere, which not only in terms of the health service, but also, we've recently seen about Carillion and another firm going into liquidation in the UK, which have close ties with the government. And I think we should learn from those kind of mistakes that have gone on elsewhere. And as I say, we should cherish the health service, be prepared to look to see what we can do better. If we're looking at the hospital, for example, be prepared to look to see what we should be doing on the island, what we should be doing elsewhere, making sure they're getting value for money, making sure that there's not too many upper management. That's something you hear all the time. So we'll be looking in depth at all the big issues that affect the island. If we're wanting more people to come on the island to work with us for a better future, then we need to make sure that there are facilities on the island, sufficient facilities for childcare provision, for example. At the moment there aren't, and there's recently been closures. So those are causing tensions for people in that. And what ends up is that people, particularly females who have children, end up having to prioritise the childcare support rather than those skills being available for the economy. And if there were sufficient provision made on the island, then we could maximise the best of both worlds there.